You might think it a bit hyperbolic of me to make use of the word revolution here. And I have to admit that to some degree I'm being a bit tongue-in-cheek. Obviously, there is no revolution. Obviously, OnlyFans is not representative of a revolution. But OnlyFans is doing something in a sense that is revolutionary. And it's not exactly what a lot of people are thinking. Clearly, we all have our ideas. However, I think it's doing a number of things that people are not aware of. So when I talk about OnlyFans being revolutionary, I'm actually talking about something that is broadly representative of the entirety of the internet, which is to say, on some level, it also applies to YouTube, it applies to other internet platforms, and it applies to anyone who is plugged in online. So in addition to all the other things, and some of those things I might discuss as well, I want to bring to your attention the most salient point about OnlyFans and what it really does, as well as other things online. Essentially, it allows the plebs to rise from their lack of prominence. It allows people to do things in a different era they never, ever would have been able to do, even arguably 10 years ago to a more limited degree, and 20 years ago, not at all. And a good example of this is this actress, so-called actress, she's not really an actress, I would say, Bella Thorne, who starred in some Disney film a long time ago, making no less than $2 million within a very, very short period of time on OnlyFans. Indeed, within the first 24 hours of her presence there, she had already made $1 million. And this has forced OnlyFans to consider if there should be caps on the amount of money made in a limited amount of time, etc., and how much indeed people can donate or should donate. It tells you a whole lot because Bella Thorne is hardly somebody who is remarkable. She's not particularly attractive if you've seen her, even post-surgery, and I don't think she's particularly talented. And so she is just another example of mediocrity that has been empowered and given a platform, and people love it. And add to that her own statements that she's made with respect to the amount of money she's made. And I'm quoting here, and link in the low bar, "You can be me or this talented girl from Montana," read random talented girl, "and OnlyFans could change your life, if you want it, of course." More broadly, this is reflective of the internet. We are all given a voice. Now, for the record, I don't think I'm any special. I'm just an average guy in most respects and below average in many. And for whatever reason, some people think I might have something of value to say. Of course, that's beneficial to me, but there's nothing special about me that warrants it per se. And likewise, with respect to many, many people out there, the same could be said of them. And I think that's above all true of something like OnlyFans. Yeah, you can be that random girl from Montana and do really well. And specifically in the platform of OnlyFans, what's revolutionary about it is things that are bucking trends. Is to say, very, very, very long-standing trends, such as the fact that historically, in order to do well in terms of quote-unquote sex work, or at least presenting yourself in such a manner so as to make money that way, you had to be pretty good looking. But Bella Thorne is not very good looking, and neither are many of the people on OnlyFans. At best, they're average, and in some cases, they're significantly below average in looks. Most interestingly, OnlyFans caters in many ways to certain fetishes that in any other dimension of time would not have been able to have been monetized. So sure, sexual fetishes have always existed, but the number of people who actually could profit from said sexual fetishes, well, that number was very small. But here, these days, you can be a below-average looking female who is morbidly obese, and somebody on OnlyFans will pay you a lot of money, potentially. Indeed, I know a story of a guy who allegedly is straight, but he goes on camera to show his asshole to gay men who pay him for it, and he makes roughly $3,000 a month just doing that, in addition to whatever other activities he might do. So in my interpretation, OnlyFans is the byproduct, and maybe even the end product, of a trend that has been recurrent in the past decade of empowering average people, in some cases below average people, to do things they would otherwise not be capable of. And this applies to virtually everything, whether it's intellectually, whether it's in terms of the knowledge they have, whatever it might be. there is a potential for everyone's voice out there, and we can talk about the consequences of that, and that potential simply did not exist in earlier times. What I find striking about this is, in terms of the looks department, how little they actually matter in many cases on OnlyFans. And this ties into a mechanism I've mentioned several times in the past, and that is the new online girlfriend experience, as it were. Not the same thing as hiring an escort or a prostitute to have a girlfriend experience, but paying for the perception of intimacy. And the ease of that access is really what's accelerating this and what's fueling it. The fact that you can donate a little bit, you might get an acknowledgement, the fact that that person is usually there. Consistency is the key here, because consistency is another huge factor people are overlooking. People will ask, well, why don't these guys just go to a prostitute? Why don't they just get the girlfriend experience there? Well, assuming you're not wealthy, you can't really do that too frequently. These types of females, especially the high-end escorts, are very expensive. But with OnlyFans, you could probably drop $5 a day, 7 days a week. That's $35, which would be, $140 a month. And that's, for many people, affordable. At the same time, you're getting access to that pseudo-intimate experience with a female who, at least nominally, is pretending to care about you. And because of the degree of desperation on the part of men, and the fact that there are no real standards applied to things like OnlyFans. You don't have to be beautiful or even exceptional, and in some cases you can be below average. As long as you're fitting some kind of niche, you're going to be okay. So the revolutionary aspect of OnlyFans is contained in the fact that more than any other platform online, it empowers people to go well beyond their normal striking distance in what they can achieve monetarily and in general in terms of popularity. YouTube can do that, but it's not as easy. And more to the point, you have to say something on YouTube. You can't say nothing. You can't just sit there and make money, with a few exceptions. So I think going forward, we're going to only see more and more of this trend. Very, very average people on platforms such as OnlyFans, or potentially in the future, competitor platforms, that will offer opportunities to people of average looks, average means, average presentation, average everything, or below average, and they will make a ton of money. Now, this is anecdotal, but on a final note, I'd say that in many of the cases, whether it's Twitch or OnlyFans, the women who are raking in tons of money are not overwhelmingly hot. And I've already mentioned this, but more to the point, even the best representatives of them are not overly hot. The overly hot women do online things, whether it's Instagram or whatever, but they typically have greater aspirations. I think the niche as it's developing, the OnlyFans niche, is one that is largely limited to above average, average, and below average as a market niche, and other women are doing other things. That said, there has never been a time, presumably in the history of the species, that so many average and mediocre people could get on a platform like OnlyFans and make a ton of money relative to the amount of time and effort put into it. And I think this trend, as I said, will only continue. And who knows what's on the horizon. As human beings can be pretty creative, especially when they see a product and a format that works really well. Gone are the days where you had to be exceptionally bright, exceptionally talented, and above all, in the context of things like OnlyFans or even Twitch, exceptionally hot or attractive or beautiful. It's not that such people don't exist, they still do. It's just that the accessibility of success, predicated on certain talents and innate abilities, has expanded wildly. Some might argue for good, and others might argue for worse. That will be the subject of another video at another time. Anyway, if you haven't yet subscribed, I'd appreciate it. Please hit the bell icon in case you've not yet done so to be notified of my videos, and please share the video if possible as well. And as always, if I'm still alive, I'll check you out later, and may the gods watch over you. Take care. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content, please consider making a donation or becoming a patron. Thanks for watching.